everybody? It's your boy Cypher from Siphon TCG, and welcome to Lorcana. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be doing some Lorcana content on the channel. I am very excited. I have I have actually enjoyed Lorcana way more than I thought I would. As many people, I just seen this as maybe it's just a crash grab. It may not be that interesting. There probably won't be that much in-depth gameplay, and boy, were we wrong. This game offers a multitude of archetypes. Even for a very new set, there's a ton of different ways to play, really. Even like if you have a show of like 60 or like 54 cards, there's a few changes and the ideology of the deck can actually just change. And one of the archetypes that I've actually really enjoyed is in blue-white, or in this case, sapphire steel. The sapphire or the blue being a lot of card control, card quantity, ramp, protection, a little bit of removal, while the steel is really just that pure board control. Really just, I want to be able to control the battlefield, I want to be able to dictate what is going on, and steel does provide that. Like I said, this is probably the most enjoyable deck that I've been able to play. Mostly because the Adam Storm deck, unfortunately, isn't that good. But, we're going to keep trying. But let's go into the deck text. So, for those who have seen my deck text before for other games, I do like to categorize things very specifically. The very unfortunate part of this is the way the Dreamborn website works. I can't really control how I group things, because normally I would group things based on their purpose in the deck, just to make it very clear. But for this deck, obviously, it is just grouped by card color, and realistically, most of the things can actually do the same thing. So we're going to start with Sapphire. Again, why are we using Sapphire? We're wanting to use our threats like Belle to just quest for a bajillion. Belle can quest for 5, which is just insane. There was a game, if you guys seen one of my earlier streams, where it was 17-0. And then just one turn, because I have 3 Belles, it got to 19-0, I cleared their board and won. And that is only because of things that Belle can do that a lot of other heroes cannot do. So we'll start with card by card. First, we have Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse is a 3-mana 1/3. That has the keyword, get a clue. This says whenever you play this character, you may put the top card of your deck in your inkwell tapped or exerted in this case. And what this is really allowing us to do, it's allowing us to do literally 3 or more things at once. 1, this is allowing us to get a buy on the field for that board control that we would like to have. 2, this just gives us the ability to quest on an open board. 3, it's ramping us. I can't really ask a card to do more than that. It's literally ramping us, it has the ability to quest, and it's just a body to play offense or defense. The only thing else I can ask the card to do is let it pay me in real life. That's about it. This card is one of the better cards in the deck, even though it just seems like a very innocuous. Its effect isn't very fancy. It's just done, boom, it's done. It's gone away. But honestly, very powerful. I love seeing this in my opening hand. The only downside is it's not inkable. If it was inkable, then Jesus Christ, dude. Speaking of inkable, we have Belle, obviously the centerpiece of the deck. Thankfully, she is inkable. Belle is a 2/4 princess who has 2 different keywords. Her first keyword is probably one of the most underrated things in the whole entire game. Obviously, most people know Belle for her ability to tap for 5 when you have 2 or more mana, but I think just her ability to also ramp, but in a very specific way. She just allows you to put an additional card. This isn't like you have to tap something to do it. You don't have to wait for it to be summoning sick. You play Belle, you can ink again. And because we're obviously playing things like A Whole New World, just the ability to get cards out of our hand, enter inkwell, give us more mana, then just draw a new hand with that extra mana is just crazy. And Belle's one of the ways that we can actually do that. Because the worst thing you can do with like A Whole New World is have like the mana to do it, obviously, but like 4 cards in hand, and you're just like, I don't have the mana to play everything and a whole new world. Uh, I could play the things to the board, but they don't actually accomplish anything, especially if my opponent has like a board wipe, like a Be Prepared or something, or like a Ridge of Swords. Like it's like there's some spots where that kind of play doesn't do a whole lot. But obviously, just the best feeling in the world is being able to like get all those extra cards out of your hand, a whole new world, be on like 13 plus mana, and be like, huh, I can play half my hand. It's one of the. There's a reason that the deck is built around this character and what they can do, and obviously, my favorite part is clearly the Quest 5. That is probably one of the strongest abilities in the game. Aurora takes a little bit of a backseat. We actually are only playing 2 Aurora in this version of the build. Now, if your local meta does have a little bit more spot removal, or in this case, like if you guys don't know what spot removal is, just be able, I play a card, deals damage, or kills a character, or banishes a character rather. Like you can up your Aurora count to 4. You can, but with the rise of the Steel Song deck, with all the aggro that's going on, paying 5 mana for Ward a lot of times just does not do enough. And because we're not playing any Baby Auroras for the ability to shift this Aurora, it just makes her a little bit less enticing. Obviously, she does have the 5 butt, and she does have the ability to cluster 2, so she is pretty good there. And have you seen this? Have you seen this card? There's a reason it's $214. Have you seen this in real life? It kind of goes crazy. It kind of goes crazy. Next we have Hades, another 2 of in the deck. Obviously, because this card is not inkable, this is less desirable in a lot of our hands. But on the high end, this just acts as a let it go on a stick. And it's 6 body, can stop a lot of things, just takes 2 smashes. It's not like your opponent can just like grab your swords and fire the cannons this. It's only 4 damage. They're going to need to work harder for this. Being able to make your opponent work harder or use more resources, because a lot of times, if this is tapped, like a quest or a challenge something, it's going to take more than one character a lot of times to banish this back, unless they pair And you can get into a lot of scenarios where, because you could not ink a card, you will lose the game. Because you'll fall behind on mana tempo, you need to cast a whole new world on a certain turn, now you can't, or you just have the inability to follow up off your a whole new world. Like, just having the density of being able to just be like, regardless of what's in my hand, I can get some more ink. Going on to the still cards, the still cards are here to represent a form of board control, whether it be direct removal through damage, whether it be to the ability to challenge characters, breaking items, or a lot of people don't understand like how important bodyguard is to board control. This actually allows you to, in theory, give your big hitters like Belle and stuff like that evasive. Kind of evasive. Because obviously if this is tapped, well, they're going to go through this thing first, and it's a 2-5, so you just let me know how you're feeling about this 2-5. But going on to the card by card, we have obviously 4 Captain Hook, 3 Prince. Three Prince Eric. They're here to do a similar purpose. They are both just Challenger 2s. They'll be able to swing for 3, so they can actually trade into a lot of good things, especially early. The plus side to Eric is Eric doesn't die to a Fire the Cannons, but obviously both die to a Smash, so that is something to look out for there. Also, Captain Hook does gotta grab your swords, but I mean, that's kind of a different conversation, even though on the surface it doesn't seem like a totally different conversation. The difference between Fire the Cannons and grab your swords is very different. But yeah, both of these are pretty much the same card. One just costs 1, one costs 2. We have three Tink. We have 3 Tink and we have 6 Tink here and here. Obviously, 3 Tink is honestly, the ability on 3 Tink is actually very underrated. Obviously, there's a lot of times where if people will see you just tap your Tinkerbell to draw a card, they'll send their board into it, just make sure it's gone. Because the last thing you want is someone to go turn 3 Tinkerbell, turn 4 Tinkerbell, 1 to everything, and they can either start destroying your stuff, banishing your stuff, or put certain things at breakpoints to where now things are dangerous, or opens them up to like a Fire the Cannon, to Smash, grab a sword, whatever. Like 3 Tink and 6 Tink offer a lot of like utility there. Like I said, it sometimes feels like Tinkerbell's taunt. A lot of times I will intentionally tap the Tinkerbell, even when I don't actually need to draw a card, and like I like everything in my hand, because I know most people will be like, we have to kill we have to banish Tinkerbell. We have to banish Tinkerbell right now, ladies and gentlemen. Fire the cannons. I didn't actually mean to make a pun there, but I did. Whatever. But like, I think 3 Tink and 6 Tink offer a lot of utility. And like 6 Tink is just crazy. Being able to do 1 to the Hunter board, a little mini grab your sword. Again, can put things at breakpoints. Quest for 2, it's a 4/5, which is nothing to scoff at for a lot of things in the format. And if your opponent wants to get very, very lazy or very, very aggressive, you can punish them. Because a 4/5 can take out and survive a whole lot. And 6 Tink reads, during your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may deal 2 to a chosen opponent character. So, especially against aggro, you can use the ETB or the anti-battlefield effect, take out like a Lilo or something. Well, because you already had other Tinkerbell out, you can swing. Well, let's just kill this genie. Oh, I can now do something. Let's just take out that Stitch. And you just 3 for 1 in 1 card. And it's still alive because it's a 4/5. Card's insane. Especially like if you ever get to play it for 4 mana Gs. Even for 6 mana, there are times where I already have a Tinkerbell out, and I'll just play the 6. Do I need to shift? I'll just play it. Now I get to have the best of both worlds, like I'm Hannah Montana. Fire the Cannons, just very early cheap removal. Not much to say there. Just 2 damage, just takes out a lot of things early whenever you want to play this card. Like I said, the only downside is it's just not inkable. That's kind of it. Smash, similar to Fire the Cannons. Deals 1 extra damage for 2 more resources, but it does have the additional trade-off of actually being inkable. I would have personally liked to see this at 2 mana, but maybe a 2 mana inkable that does 3 was a little bit too good. Obviously, I wasn't in internal playtesting, but 3 mana seems a little mid when there's a lot of things on 3 that you're going to want to play. I accidentally skip him, but Beast, we're running 2 Beast, only because not every deck in the format is playing items. Like, for example, if you look at our decks, yes, we're playing 4 Fishborn, 2 Plasma Blaster. But basically, Plasma Blaster is like my own personal tech, so let's take that out. Okay, 4. You're not really going to run 4 beasts to take out all 4 Fishbone, because what's the likelihood they see all 4, and you get value of every single beast. Now, Beast does have the ability to cluster 2, and it is a 4/4, so it can dodge a lot of things. But for 5 mana, I don't know if that's a price I'm always willing to pay. More oftentimes than not, I am not. Probably one of the best cards in the whole entire game, A Whole New World. This is literally just Wheel of Fortune for you Magic heads. That can sometimes just be for free. This is another card that the deck is built around, even though it doesn't look like an obvious build around. The reason why it's built around this is because obviously we want to ramp, because we want to turn our Belle. But what we also want to do is we want the ability to ramp to a very high amount of mana. The amount of mana I had right before I started, right before I ended the stream and started this video was 20. I Whole New Worlded, drew another one, played out my hand except for 2 cards, Whole New Worlded again. And it is actually one of the reasons that I didn't talk about it yet, but we run 64 rather than standard 60. It's just so, like, in mirror matches and just slower decks that just play straight 60, I actually have the edge to mill them out, especially if they're also in A Whole New World. Unless they're also on the tech of running more than 60, then obviously Risk is just War of Attrition, who uses the least amount of cards while also resolving the most A Whole New Worlds. But yeah, the card's insane. Just getting 7 new resources is it's just busted. I don't know what to tell you. Grab your swords. It's just a Fire the Cannons for the whole entire board. That can also be sung for free. It's pretty good. The fact that it's only $6 seems a little criminal, but obviously I'm glad that it's only $6 so I can pick up my place up before they possibly skyrocket up in price. Yeah, but literally the only downside of this is if the format ever does up their butts a little bit, like, and you see a lot of 3s and 4s and 5s coming in, especially in the Amber colors where if you grab your swords, you can end up literally just negging, because if they Akuta Matata, they can just heal everything. If they have Rapunzel, they can just be like, oh wow, you try to like nuke my board, that's crazy. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and draw 2 cards because you dealt 2 to this thing. Nice job, dude. And then I just get kind of sad. But there's very few times where grabbing swords is just a bad card. Like I said, the only big downside to it is that you can't ink it. Now, last card in the deck is my own personal tech that I like. Because there's a lot of times that we are going to have an abundance of mana and sometimes nothing to do with it. My goal is I want to have something to do with it. So we are on Plasma Blaster. Plasma Blaster allows you to tap and pay 2 and deal 1 damage to chosen character. Why is this good? Well, this is good obviously because it gives us a way to use our mana. Number 2, this allows us to hit certain breakpoints, kind of like what things like Tink does. This also allows us, like, literally, there are times where our opponent will just play Lilo and I'm be like, wow, that sucks. So Plasma Blaster, take it out. Don't know what to tell you. Especially just having like both of them on the battlefield. For 4 mana to deal 2 damage to anything. If that was just a card that said that, I'd probably just run that, especially in a build like this where you're going to have an abundance of mana at some point and not really have an outlet to use. Like, you don't have the ability to like A Whole New World. You don't have one of your big things, and you just have like a Plasma Blaster and some things, and you can just start hitting things. There will be times where my opponent has a 5 health thing. I'm like, cool, I'll Plasma Blaster, take it to 4. I'll do this for another 4 turns if I have to. We'll do it. Like I said, I think this is a very slept on item. I think as the time goes by, people will start playing this more. Now, as thinking about playing this more, one of the cards that is obviously excluded from this is a card like Beast Mirror. A lot of people enjoy Beast Mirror just because it's a very cheap draw. The issue is that there are a lot of hands where you can just empty out your hand and be able to turn that Beast Mirror on. But in situations where you cannot, where your removal is just a little bit blanked, you might be just hurting on mana. It's just like, the last thing I want to do is just have a Beast Mirror in hand that literally can do nothing. I mean, sure, I'll play it, but for what benefit? There's not a lot of benefit. Because as long as you're turning through cards, like eventually, because like I said, you're obviously playing Develop Your Brain. You're playing things that allows you to exert. Now, obviously, you could unironically exert one of your power cards. But like, when you have the ability to turn through certain cards in your deck, to the point where like you're probably going to see one of your power cards once, and that's enough. Like, usually you just need to resolve one A Whole New World, and you're set. You're literally just set. Because especially at high amounts of mana, you can just play your hand. But yeah. That's going to be the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys enjoyed the in-depth explanations of the card by card. I will try to have a gameplay of this, a high-level gameplay where I talk through every single one of my decisions and why we're doing everything. And I think you guys will do that because for my Flesh World audience who are watching this and my Magic the Gathering audience, if you guys are still here, you guys will know that those were some of the more enjoyable videos. Is where I literally go through a live gameplay and I just talk about literally everything that I'm thinking about. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment down below what you guys want to see next. This has been your boy Siphon from Siphon TCG. I'll see you guys next time. Grab your swords. Peace out.